Well, at this hour, the FBI is staked out outside of a home in the Houston area, believed to be linked to the terror suspect here, Shamsa Din-Jabbar, the New Orleans terror suspect. So many unanswered questions this morning. Who are the co-conspirators? And is the Tesla explosion and New Orleans attack connected? Just a few questions that are unanswered. Joining us now is Chris Piotta, a retired FBI national security executive and the author of this book right here, Wanted, the FBI I Once Knew. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And it seems like the focus right now is on accomplices and connections for the FBI. They believe that Jabbar did not act alone. Of course, you have CNN reporting this morning that they're conducting searches in multiple states, possibly tied to the New Orleans attack, along with checking for any ties the FBI is telling us to any outside terrorist organizations. What does this tell you about the scope of the attack and what the FBI is looking into?
Well, right now, the FBI will be looking to assemble an investigative strategy. They're looking to tie events together wherever possible or identify those co-conspirators or terrorist activity in the United States. They will also be looking to collect information through information gathering with our intelligence partners, as well as our law enforcement partners at the federal, state, and local levels, as well as the U.S. intelligence community.
Now, what about the misses, if there were any, when it comes to New Orleans, the lack of barriers? You had the mayor was asked about this. She said that the city was in the process of replacing some hydraulic barriers because of the Super Bowl. But overall, when you look at how that person was able to drive up into that crowd, was this a miss for New Orleans?
I wouldn't call it a miss, but I do think that they assessed the threat environment or the potential threat environment based upon information they had at the time. One of the things you're going to see, according to various security and intelligence professionals, is a rise in these type of attacks where you're going to see low tech beating high tech. You're going to see what they call Fedayeen style attacks. You're going to see guerrilla tactics. You're going to see use of small arms, vehicles as ramming or penetration objects, and you're going to see the use of IEDs, homemade IEDs, to spread terror and to inflict casualty. So, I think our law enforcement and intelligence professionals have got to look at the emerging threat environment and recalculate how we're going to protect the American people.
Especially when you look at what happened, at least in New Orleans, there was a pickup truck used for that, basically as a mass destruction weapon. Then you have that Tesla that exploded. They're still investigating what that is out in Las Vegas. And one thing you just said in terms of we should be preparing for maybe more events like this. Are we ready at this point?
I do not believe that we are ready for this type of a wave of potential terrorist incidents. I think we have to look at the American society's departure from being a very high trust and pretty high security society. And I think we're going to have to go back to looking at how we best protect the American people with the available resources. So I don't think we're ready for this in a coordinated or networked attack fashion.
What do you think our weaknesses is? What do we need to patch up? Because if we see more of this, of course, we don't want to see the loss of more lives.
I really believe that we have to have better integration of resources and authorities between our federal, state, and local partners. We also have to look at our societal norms and decide how much we want to prioritize security across our communities. And one of the things I will tell you is that, when I was still with the FBI, security and civil liberties exist in a very complicated balance.
They do, yeah.
So during instances like this, we have to make sure that while we want to have improved or increased security, that we also keep in mind the civil liberties of our citizens.
Well, you talk about increased security. You have the Louisiana governor has issued a state of emergency for New Orleans and some of the major events there. There are so many big events coming up. You have the inauguration. Of course, you have Jimmy Carter's funeral that's coming up. You have even Mardi Gras. You have the Super Bowl. How does this attack in New Orleans shift the security for these events? And what should the FBI be doing? How should we be approaching securing these type of big events?
Well, the FBI is going to conduct its normal protective and preventative work, albeit at a higher operational tempo because of the events that we have going on right now. Also, you'll see increased and expanded information sharing among law enforcement and intelligence partners so we can prevent as opposed to respond to an event of this type. One of the things I used to tell people all the time was the most effective countermeasure or preventative measure against acts of terror or crime is the increased presence of uniformed law enforcement officers and marked police vehicles. And you're going to see an increased presence, and you're going to see more surveillance and monitoring assets at these types of events.
Well, quickly, let's just talk about the possible connection between New Orleans and also what happened in Las Vegas. You have this app that they share, that the rental cars, the Tesla Cybertruck, and also the pickup truck were both rented through some sort of an app, a car sharing
Right.
app. What do you think? Do you think these are connected? What did red flags go off when you hear just a little thing like that? There was a car sharing app that was used in both of these situations to rent a vehicle.
Any commonality in these type of incidents has to be investigated thoroughly. Right now, I guarantee that the federal and local authorities are in touch with the managers of the rental app.
Yeah.
They're going to provide them with legal service for records and for information regarding the individuals who rented those trucks. And they're also going to look at how those people were validated and vetted for security reasons when they rented the vehicles, so they can look and see, you know, what kind of background these people had before the vehicles were provided to them. One of the other things about the app that'll be interesting is to see it operates in North America, across North America, and in Europe. So we may get some information also from other intelligence partners. And hey, one other thing I'd like to mention is that the FBI will be working closely with our military partners because the people in questions reportedly had military backgrounds.
Well, thank you so much, retired FBI National Security Executive Chris Paiota. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you.